What's up, Philadelphia sports fans? I am Anthony Pinto.
And I'm Keith Malashevsky.
And welcome to the War Room. We are War Room Philly. That's right, you're not hearing ghosts. Carson might be saying them, but you're not hearing them. That is Keith. He is joining us through the interwebs.
What's going on, guys?
So yeah, it is not a it's not a solo show tonight. Actually, you know what, Keith? I didn't even think about this, but I don't know if there's going to be a way for you to read chat tonight, huh?
No,
Okay.
well, I mean, there is a way, and I'm working on that.
I was gonna say,
right
if you
now.
pull the stream up on your phone, if you're not using your phone, okay. But I was gonna say, if not, I'll keep us updated on chat as best as I can. But you know, we're trying something out new tonight. It's not a safe night to drive, so you know, not only that, let's just say Keith's car is maybe not in the best of situations either. If I can give some insider information, Keith.
So for once, it's not like I hit somebody. For those who know me, for once it's not that.
So,
but yeah, we're having some mechanical issues that I have to get resolved. So for now, driving isn't exactly something that I'm going to be doing very much of.
Yeah. So
I even have a friend picking me up tomorrow for a little bit of Thanksgiving football.
Okay.
You know, we got the annual Thanksgiving game that I can't tell you how many years has been going. Probably every year since I graduated. I think I found a game to play. Maybe not the same one, but I was in charge of it. So I guess in theory you could say it's the annual game that I've planned.
Yeah, love it. Actually, just noticed that I can't leave. The door was a little open there. It was looking weird. I digress. Like most prepared streamer on Twitch, as I always say. But yeah, we were kind of working through some technical kinks before the show, getting the new setup set up. So yeah, thank you guys all for bearing with us. If we need any volume adjustments, if one of us is louder than the other, please let me know. We can fix that, no problem.
Yes.
With that, we got a lot to get into. We got not so necessarily fun football team to talk about. I mean, look, our two biggest stars in the city are coming off of maybe their worst two games in their career. Or at least as of late. So we're going to talk about that. And hey, on top of things, you know, thanks to overtime loss points being a thing, the Flyers are still gathering up points, racking them up. I was at the barn last Saturday for that shootout loss. But yeah, it was still a fun game. Saw some friends. Did not expect to run into friends there, so that's always good.
It's usually like something that happens to me.
Yeah, it's true, because your net is a lot wider than mine.
Just a little bit.
But yeah, it was just like one of those things where you run in and you're like, oh, you're in the section next to me. Like, and of all places to be, we're here and you're in the section next to me. So yeah, that's kind of fun things. Friend is charitable. I consider Keith an acquaintance. That's from Russ in chat.
Yeah, that would indeed be Russ.
Oh, is he the one picking you up? Was that?
He is. We'll see if he's on time in the morning.
We had ears listening. So yeah. Get into all of that. Chat, as always, feel free to let us know what you want to get into. We'll be talking at least 3 for 4 today. I don't really have any Phillies on the docket. No, you know.
No. I touched on everything that kind of we were going to say yesterday.
Yeah, and that was great too, by the way. That was great.
Well, 2-minute Tuesday there. It was really 4 minutes, but who's counting?
That's fine. Our clock management. I guess that's not really that's not Doug's problem. It's everything else. Is the clock?
Yeah.
But yeah, and I guess is that where we start? I guess that's where we start.
I guess we can. I mean, it's you pick from the depressing, the also depressing, and the slightly less depressing with the Flyers. But I guess we'll dive right in.
Yeah, we got a Philly tonight too. You got the Sixers and Flyers both on. It's actually driving me nuts that I don't have them on either screen right now.
Yeah, currently it's 2-1 Blue Jackets after the first period.
Okay.
I do have the scores up on the computer as far as that's going.
That's good.
I'll have to.
You can keep us updated on that.
Yeah, exactly. I actually meant to bring up the Sixers, and I did not bring up the Sixers.
You need me to do that?
I'm about to
We
do
can
that
make
right
it
now.
all happen, chat. We can make it all happen.
I'm gonna take advantage of the fact that nobody can see me for once, and I can actually.
Yeah, Keith is he's presenting beautifully. He's
Yeah.
presenting. I can see everything. Unfortunately, you guys can't. I can show you guys though. No.
I can start making some weird faces, try to throw you off, but I'll resist the temptation.
We have the technology.
The Sixers are up 38-29 with 4 minutes to go in the half, so
there we go.
they should beat the Kings, but there's a lot of should-haves that should have happened this year that have not happened.
Yeah, I mean, Joel Embiid should have scored at least 2 points in the last game, you know?
Which, when you lose by 5 and Joel Embiid gives you nada, that kind of hurts.
Yeah, that's bad. You know, we haven't really seen, and I guess we're going to shift gears and just organically pick up the Sixers first, but we haven't really seen, like, outside of the game against Boston, I haven't seen, like, an explosive Embiid. Not that he's been bad, not that he's been, you know, the problem by any means, but he just hasn't seemed to be explosive.
Well, I will say that the Hawks game, he definitely, you know, came out firing in that game and put up a good amount. But again, I mean, that's what, game 3 out of the season?
Yeah, it's been early. God, I'm sorry.
You know, we're in game, at this point, 18 out of the season, and that's a little troublesome. You know, I know we're talking every week going in about hey, we got to take this 25-game sample size, see what's happening. 25 games, really give it a shot. Don't worry, it'll be 25. We'll be fine. But you know, we're getting up there. You know, like I said, this is going to be game 18 tonight that we're looking at, and we need to see some progress from everyone.
Yeah. And we've yet to see smash mouth offense, bully ball defense.
Yeah, it's been a little bit just.
It's still a lot of the same, and you know, it's troubling, and it's to the point where, you know, people are rightfully bringing up the Brett Brown question, and, you know, I don't blame them. It's to the point where, you know, come Christmas time, Elton Brand is going to have to really evaluate this situation. But, you know, that's kind of where. That's when the NBA season starts, in my opinion. Yeah. As like sloppy as that sounds, but it's almost like this is a feeling out process. It's almost like how, like, the first 3 weeks of the NFL are almost like pseudo preseason games that count. For the NBA, it's kind of like a feeling out process. Teams are gaining chemistry. And yeah, around Christmas time, Elton Brand is going to have to take a serious look at this coach. And while he's at it, he's got to, of course, find a shooter. And that's something we all know. He's going to have to find a shooter that can fit into this cap. But between that and taking a serious look at Brett Brown, that's the 2 big things on Elton Brand's docket, if in my opinion.
Well, you know, we've been talking about how he's got it. You know, Brett Brown's trying out different, you know, lineups, seeing what we have out of our bench players that we didn't know what we had going on. Same thing with the whole Furkan experiment, which is so-so. I mean, he's okay for the bench, but he's obviously not a starting 2 guard for us. That's not something that we're looking at here. We you know, we need another shooter, because obviously Tobias, for whatever reason, we can't get him going. You know, it's frustrating, and Philadelphia sports right now as a whole can be summed up as frustrating, but the shooting conundrum is one of them, specifically for the Sixers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, it's like, it's one thing that you're missing the shots, but it's another that you're continually taking them, when that's, you know, that's not your strong suit. You could easily just switch something simple up and just, like, Embiid could have just gotten a dunk the other night. You know, I hate to be that lazy, but it's that simple. You know, you could have just gone and posted up. And don't tell me Siakam is so good that Embiid couldn't even get a dunk against him, or Pau Gasol. Like, that's not how this works.
I mean, we saw him score against them last year.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a poor showing. And all in all, we have to figure out how we can get Joel Embiid going this season. Horford's been solid. Josh Richardson, as of late, has looked really good. You mentioned the Tobias struggles. I've been on that pretty much all year. He's been just kind of average. I want to see a big game out of Tobias. A big game. We still really haven't seen a big game out of Ben, a big game out of Embiid, or a big game out of Tobias. You've had kind of had standout games out of other players right now. And then the positive to that is collectively as a team, they were playing really well. And especially if you go back to Saturday and Jimmy Butler comes into town, that's the kind of style of ball you need to see more of.
Yeah, I mean, I remember looking up the score of that mid-game, going, oh, they got to be in like the first or second quarter. I'm like, oh, never mind. Looking at the Sixers score, I see we are not.
Yeah, it was it was good, and you know what, they defended the perimeter really well, which is something that you didn't see last year. We want to see more of that, more consistency out of that. So that's kind of where we want to get to with the Sixers. I think you mentioned Furkan earlier. Did I hear his name?
Yes.
Yeah, you brought him. Bringing him up's a good point too, because I think what they're trying to do right now with Furkan, I think I mentioned this last week. I'm not sure if you were on, but if it was last week, I mean, but it was to me it feels like the Sixers are trying to develop Furkan and to make it sound like Brett Brown, Furkan but it sounds like they want to develop these, maybe a Furkan and another player, and bring on that next shooter.
Yeah, I mean I don't blame them. That's the cheapest way to do it, And even if that's not what you end up doing, you still need a player like Furkan or Shake Milton or Zaire to really flourish in some kind of role, so at least they have some kind of worth, so that when you do go for the trade market, you have something to trade. I mean, your picks are only going to get you so much, being where you're at this point. So you need those players to show some sort of offensive prowess, or maybe defense especially, because I mean, you don't have another guy like last year when you had Landry Shamet, who came out and he's a bench player, but he had some worth, and your pick still meant something last year. Now they don't.
Yeah, that's what you need. You need to find another Shamet on your bench. You need to find someone that you can polish up a little bit, and another team is willing to take a bite on, an expiring contract. Yeah, and I'm not saying to get Tobias Harris either. Like, I'm looking for a sixth man right now. Like, that's what the Sixers need. They need, in my opinion, a 3, or even just a more backup guard. They need either a 1 through a 3 in whatever way, and that 1 through a 3 needs to be a guy that can pull up and get you some threes off the bench.
Yeah.
That's really
consistent shooting. You need consistent shooting.
Yeah.
Whether you're 6 man or not, I don't really care at this point. But you need somebody that you're going to be able to say, you know what, I need some instant offense. Let's go. And no, I don't want to hear the name, Trey Burke, because that's not good enough. It's just not.
Yeah, if you can get production out of him, I'm not going to complain, but that's not... I want more. Like, I want Elton Brand to do more. Yeah, I'm just to add on to your point. I just... and I see Joe in chat, too, by the way. We're not missing anybody. I'm focused a little more on the side screen to kind of have some eye contact with Keith a little bit here. But yeah, let us know. By the way, guys, again, let us know if our audio is good. I tested the levels as best as I could pregame, but you guys on the screens will know better than us. So if we need any tweaks, let us know. But yeah, we got Keith coming in through the interwebs, and it's good to have him here.
Doing some work.
And it's a heavy drinking night, so we're glad to see you guys staying in. Maybe you're pre-gaming with us if that's still your thing. Me at the old washed up age of 30, I'll have a Yingling tonight. Post show.
I'm 100% sober. I got to keep my game body ready for tomorrow, man.
Yeah, exactly. I'm washed up. I'm on the
Now,
Deshaun.
your season's over the summer for softball, or maybe I can get you interested in some kickball.
I don't do kickball because you know what it is. In in my mind, I'm right-footed, but I'm a lefty, like by nature. I just don't acknowledge it, and I'm left-footed, so I don't know how to like. I can't. I'm left-footed when I play like soccer or anything, but I like if I go into a batter's box, I have to approach from, like the right side. I don't know. I can't
I
do
mean, you're just gonna
kickball.
hit those right. You're just gonna hit those right field hits, to start off the game. You're gonna really screw them up.
Yeah, just basically I can't kickball. Is the long and short of it. And yeah, it's just I just it's like playing a controller versus the mouse and keyboard. Like I just want to swing a bat. It feels more natural with the mouse and keyboard with the bat. Yeah, it's just how I go. But yeah, winter is also my season though with skiing. I still ski. That's the one thing I still am a little somewhat try hard in, even getting on the skis and hitting some jumps.
And I haven't been skiing in like 2 years. I mean, my own fault there. I do own my own skis, my own ski boots. I got the whole ski outfit. As you know, I've been skiing with you. I think we might need to figure something out. Maybe go to the mountain this year.
Yeah, yeah, it's one of my favorite things to do. And my brother, he's out in Oregon, already getting snow out there. No, it's the whole nine. We got 43-41 coming up on the end of the first half of the Sixers too, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah. If there are any other Sixers points, we can get them in now. But as it's still a little early, I'm thinking it's time to switch gears and kind of move on over. Also, if there's any Flyers points, let's get them in at any time. But we want to talk a little bit of Eagles, getting onto it. But yeah, Keith, any other final Sixers points? Did we miss anything?
I think we covered it. General frustration all through because it's everywhere. I mean, it's every phase, every piece of. I mean, obviously not Elton, but I mean it's players and coaching at this point. You can't blame it all on Brett Brown. You can't blame it all on the players. The players have to execute, and Brett Brown needs to coach a little bit better of a game plan to make something happen.
And I think this is one thing that our regulars should know, at least from me and what I think. I've kind of been steadfast on finals or bust, finals or bust, finals or bust, and I'm kind of to the point now where it's like I think Elton needs to evaluate at Christmas. I think our regulars should know that I'm because I've been a Brett supporter, if you will. But if these trends continue, like I even said, because look, at the beginning of the season, we said, look, even when there were, we gave them the benefit of the doubt, 3 different teams, this, that, and the third, like all these excuses, but from day one to now, Brett Brown's teams have had very similar flaws. Third quarter being very weak, lack of discipline with the turnovers, weak passes, and maybe most importantly, and something that people have been saying for a long time, not getting the best out of your 2 star players in Embiid and Ben Simmons. So that's I think the chat, maybe most happily Joe, should know that's I'm evolving as I do with my opinion here. As I see more and more evidence, I'm kind of like I'm looking at it and I'm going, Christmas, Elton Brand might need to, if he can't make a trade, he might need to really consider it. And I honestly have no suggestions in mind as far as a different coach. I hope it never gets to that point because I want things to go well. But yeah, if they don't, it might be a tough decision that Elton Brand's got to do mid-season. But we've seen NBA teams make these decisions and it work out positive. Most specifically the Warriors and the Raptors last year.
I'm not gonna lie. The whole time you said you're evolving, I've had the whole Pokemon. Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Sorry, that's just been playing in my head the entire
That's
time
fine.
now.
Pokemon's back in the meta, Keith. Have you gotten a peek over maybe Kev's shoulder, your younger brother, to see
You know,
any
and
or
that's the problem of
catch any of the new one or any of that?
that's the problem of not living at home anymore.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I don't get that privilege of being around
yeah.
because he was always
It's
the one that ended up like getting into that. I mean, not that I didn't like it, you know what I mean? Like it just he was the one who did it more, and now I know he's getting into it, so I got to talk to him because we'll have Thanksgiving dinner together tomorrow, so I'll be able to possibly get
yeah.
some insight on that.
Oh man, I didn't even think about that. I'm taking my Switch to Thanksgiving tomorrow. That's how.
Yeah, I mean that's
That's
I
one
don't
way to please Mama Bear.
yeah.
But yeah, I actually I haven't even I've had which one did I got? I got Shield. I haven't even played it yet, but I do know that my girlfriend Jay Ziggy in chat has been playing the crap out of it. More than I've ever seen her play any game since we've started dating. So yeah, it's I know it's good. So I'm gonna eventually. My problem is every time I get a chance to game, I want to play Counter Strike and lose.
You know, I do finally have a my PS4 set up down here. I just rarely get the chance to
Yeah,
do anything with
Joe
it.
was asking us if we had if either of us had Xbox One. It's funny. It seems like we got just about everything between us but that.
Yeah, no Xbox One for me. That's my youngest brother, I should say, because he's actually taller than me. I can't call him a little brother. My youngest brother Kyle is the one who has the Xbox One. For whatever reason I never did that. So him and my other brother both have Switches. The brother that has the Xbox One is also the PC gamer.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Yo, are we using the PS4?" And they're like, "No." And I was like, "All right, I got something."
Yeah, yeah. I guess I said it in chat, but yeah, I got PC and Switch. That's my gaming platforms. But yeah, gaming platform of choice for Carson Wentz. But yeah, moving into it, the Eagles 17-9 loss. Just all around another pretty pathetic showing out of the offense.
Yeah, kind of very not even kind of. It was very disappointing. I mean, you look at Zach Ertz's day, and you see he's a touchdown, 91 yards, 12 receptions. You think, oh, maybe something good happened, but not so much. Greg Ward looks like he should have been up here sooner, and I don't mean that as a be all end all anything, but he's certainly better than Mac Hollins. We can see now.
Still better than Mac Hollins. He was better than Jordan Matthews, who's been released since the last time we have spoke. Yeah, it's again, it's not like I'm not gonna cry or anything, but player management. What is going on that Jordan Matthews takes over 80% of your offensive snaps both games that he's here, and now he's cut. Why don't you cut Mac Hollins, who you're clearly not confident in? Again, we're talking about poop and like, I don't even know. We're talking about two turds here in Mac Hollins and Jordan Matthews. But in my opinion, if the coaching staff is putting Jordan Matthews out there for so many more plays than Mac Hollins, and then why is he the one cutting that, not Mac Hollins?
Yeah, I think it's that. I mean, actually, I can't really speak to the contract situation because I don't know how much of Mac's rookie
Yeah,
deal.
I guess it could be. I doubt that the Eagles are that that far in the cap room, right? You know what I mean? Like I'd have to look it up.
You know what I mean? That's the only thing I could think about that would be a consideration because obviously Jordan Matthews would be a non-guaranteed contract, and the reason he got cut now is because Nelson should be back next week. You have that contract that you can just get rid of on the fly, and you don't have to worry about it because you're probably going to keep Greg Ward up at this point. I think.
Yeah.
You proved a spot.
Absolutely agree with that. So again, I'm not crying that Jordan Matthews is cut. In my opinion, I think Matt Collins sucks more. But we got Rambunctious, who I believe is Nick, saying the Bible. Nick, formerly Pot in chat, Keith. I think he made a name change. And I guess so did Joe Heston with Big Ben 2020 MVP now as his name. His burner account. But Nelson can get the bleep out, says Joe in chat. And I mean, I agree. Again, I agree. Trust me. Joe. You know, according to Joe, I'm a Nelson hater. But I still think Nelson Aguilar, at least, he could get open. You know, if you could maybe put his route running ability with, I don't even want to say Jordan Matthews' hands, but they're still better than Nelson Aguilar's.
I don't know about his route running either compared to some of the balls we've seen him track.
He can't track. He can run routes, but he can't track the ball in the air. Right?
That acrobatic almost catch in the end zone in the Patriots game, that's a botch tracking. We saw him botch tracking in the Dallas game.
Yeah, he botched it, Charlie. Flyers go! Who scored, Joe? I don't even... I was saying to Keith right as we pulled it up, it's actually, or I think I said it on the show, that it's kind of killing me that Keith and I were so focused on getting the show up and running. I've only seen Hollins mess up one play on special teams this year. I haven't seen him even stand out on special teams, Russ. But I see, and I do see something about Torrey Smith with the question mark. But if you're asking if he can be a poor man's Torrey Smith. I don't think he'll be back next year at all. Maybe on another team, Matt Collins could succeed. But as far as this team goes, yeah, I don't think he'll be back next year. Which is why, honestly, I was like, I just think that the best move right now. Again, we're splitting hairs. We're not talking about much talent, but I think Jordan Matthews should be here over Matt Collins.
Well, at least you can kind of depend on him. He's nothing spectacular, but when you throw him the ball, he's going to catch it.
But look, it goes to this. Look, I'm not even saying anything that I've seen from Jordan Matthews over Matt Collins, but all you got to do is look to, in the 2 games that Jordan Matthews was here, look at how many more snaps he played over Matt Collins. So it's weird that he's cut. Again, I'm not making like, I'm not saying anybody should lose a job over this. We could talk many reasons why they could lose jobs otherwise, but it's just something that I'm kind of, since
there would have been a dead cap hit. I mean, it would have been small. I don't know if they prorate it, but there would have been a dead cap hit, and that's exactly why you can cut Jordan Matthews, scot-free, not have to worry about it, which is probably why the move was made. And next year, by the way, Matt Collins still has 1 year on his contract. So, I mean, you just need somebody to outplay him in training camp. Apparently, Arthega-Whiteside doesn't want to outplay him ever, so there is that.
Yeah, and I guess that's the other. Not that I want him gone after not even a full season, but yeah, he's also sucked.
I mean, we saw a couple different plays where Carson anticipated him being in one spot, he moved away, and then the throw looks like a terrible throw when it's really the receiver just not playing where he's supposed to play. I'm not saying that Carson is infallible, that he's off the hook entirely, but having at least some kind of quality receiver out there could really go a long way to help him settle down a little bit, because I'm seeing the happy feet again. We were missing Brandon Brooks for a large part of the game, missing Lane Johnson for all the game, and switching Dillard over to the right. Clearly a failure, and I don't blame him for that, because it's he said it before the game. They're like, well, how hard is that going to be? He's like, all right, what hand are you right with? They're like, right hand. He goes, go right with your left. That's how hard this is going to be.
Yeah, I don't blame him for that. Who I blame for that is Doug Peterson and Jeff Stoutland.
I mean, it's a good idea. It was a good idea to try it, and they got him out of there fast. And then Big V tanked hard on that one, because we already know that if Big V has no preparation time, he's garbage. And then Matt Pryor actually did pretty good at being your right tackle for a large part of that. Unfortunately, Brandon Brooks had to leave the game, had an anxiety attack, and
In his
I guess
defense, same. I've had an
huh?
anxiety attack the last few weeks watching them too. I mean, I can't really blame him.
No, and he actually had it before the game too, and he's like, I fought as long as I could,
Hey,
as long as I could.
look,
And,
I'm not gonna. God.
he's probably the at this point the strongest player on this team as far as both play wise and mentality.
Yeah, I want him out there just as much as anybody else. But as somebody that has gone through it myself, like through different periods of my life, I get it, and I get how I've seen how debilitating it's been through myself. Sure, I'm not an NFL athlete or anything like that, but I empathize with them. I really do. I feel for them, and obviously it couldn't have happened at a worse time. But I don't. To the people that are out there thinking that like he's being like lazy or any of those like. I would imagine he wants to be out there just as bad as you want him out there.
Absolutely. We saw him come back from an Achilles injury in what, like 8 months?
And then to admit that it's anxiety and to not say anything else, you know what I mean? Like, he could easily hide that and call it something else. I give him credit, and he starts a conversation, I think, for the better as well.
I agree.
That being said, really terrible timing. You know what I mean? And he can't control that. Like, people need to understand that. It's so much easier for somebody that's never experienced it to just say, "Oh, go out there and play," like Joe is in chat. But yeah. I think it's bigger than that again. But let's stop skirting around the topics. Yeah, the offensive line was bad. The wide receivers are bad. The defense played well. Carson did not. And does that give, I guess, the defense to celebrate when they're about to lose, Keith? I want to get your opinion because you teased it yesterday.
I did tease it yesterday.
But down 17-9 with 9 minutes to go. Look, when it was 10-3, and we were still in it, I was all for it. But yeah, that game, I mean, it was not the time and place for them to be celebrating when you knew your offense couldn't do anything at that point. But yeah, go ahead, Keith. I'm curious to see.
A little bit of me is torn because there is an old school part of me that says, listen, your team's down, you don't celebrate. That being said, this defense operates best when it has its swagger going, and it is deadly apparent that we're going to need them on their A game moving forward. And in fact, we've had every opponent since the Bills game, Bills on, have been held to under 20 points. That's pretty good. At this point, the defense, I feel, has earned a little bit. I may not be terribly happy with what had happened, but I think they at least deserve a pass on how that happened. I don't think that we should be outraged. I don't think we should be angry. There is a little bit, like I said, of that whole team sport mentality where, maybe you really shouldn't be celebrating when you're losing like that. But I almost feel like, you know what, go ahead, have your swagger, have your celebration, because maybe that will reinvigorate some of our offensive players to have them turn around and actually get some kind of mojo going.
Yeah. That's one way to look at it. And again, the defense has been playing well, but if we have really come to the point where, and even as a fan base, I see this, that if the team is like, well, if the defense is like, well, we're doing our jobs, That's a dead locker room. That's a locker room that is not going to win. Every time we have Kevin Christian on, he mentions leadership in a hockey locker room. And you always agree. And while I agree to it to an extent, and this is leadership in a locker room. This is Malcolm Jenkins is flat out divided this team in half. And in my opinion, it shouldn't be defense, offense. It's Eagles. And down 17-3 with that turnover, you go and celebrate. 9 minutes left. That was terrible. That was just, it was not the time. Again, 10-3, when they did it then, I was dancing with them. I was posing, I was dabbing, I was doing it all. 17-3, 9 minutes left. No, that was dead. It was dead. It was, it's just, in 2017 and 18, the Super Bowl season, I loved all those celebrations. It's a time and place. I'm not up here saying don't celebrate. I'm never that guy. I'm also the guy that'll complain every time, not that you see it anymore, when Mac Hollins used to get a catch every now and then, he does his stupid backpack dance. I hate that too. When you're down, like, again, when you're up, talk trash. When you're down and you're out, that's not the time. 17-3, 9 minutes to go, and your offense was dead. It's not the time and place. I do agree with all of your points about the defense and swagger and all that. And I'm not the grumpy old man saying to not do that. I just, as a team leader, and as someone, whenever I was on a team in organized sports, I like to think of myself as a team leader. That would not sit well to me. If Bryce Harper hits a home run down 9-1 in the 8th and does a bat flip, I'm going to say the same thing. If Joel Embiid does a slam and hangs on the rim when they're down at the end of the game in the 4th, I'm going to say the same thing. It just was. It's got nothing to do with the fact that it was the defense. Hell, if Carson Wentz runs a touchdown in at that same point and you're still down that much, I would criticize him. So it was very mistaken on Facebook.com/WarRoomPhilly as me bashing the defense. It was me bashing the team. I don't want to speak for you, Keith, because yeah. But yeah, that's my long-winded rant on it.
Yeah. I mean, I think all the situations you name, it depends on the context. Like if Bryce Harper bashes that home run and brings them within one.
Yes, hell yes, but not down again. Down 8-1 in the 8th or the 9th inning when you're like, all right, dude, and you're, especially, like, say they were slumping, it's like, all right, dude, that's not the, down, not, yeah, down, if it's, when it's within reach, yes. So I'm not even saying don't score when you're, don't chant, or, I'm not even saying don't cheer when you're losing, but when you're down and out, like, I'm as big as Eagles fan as anybody else, but if you thought that there was a chance at that point in the game, you're crazy.
I think the team has to think they have a chance with 9 minutes to go.
They should be thinking that, but they shouldn't be dancing like they're gonna win.
Well, I think that comes back to the getting the vibe back, getting that, hey, listen,
and that comes down to no hunger. We see the same thing in two different ways. Satisfied puppies. They're no longer hungry dogs. They're a bunch of satisfied puppies.
I guess so. I mean, I personally, I think the defense doing what they're doing, I don't think it could divide. I mean, it could divide. I don't think it will divide the locker room. I think the defense says, hey, look, we got your back. We're doing this. We're having fun. Let's lighten it up out here. Let's not keep this heavy. I mean, obviously, you can take it one of two ways. And I don't think that you're being negative like everybody on the feed was seeing it as. I didn't think that. I get where you're coming from. It's that hockey mentality. It doesn't matter what score it is until you get yourself tied or up, you don't celebrate. That's just how it is. So I get that, and I can totally understand where you're coming from. I guess, like you said, we just see it from two different ways and happen to see the same event just by a different light.
Yeah, it's something that we're definitely not going to come anywhere to the middle ground on. Which is it's rare. It's rare that we do that. But yeah, as far as this goes, it's just it's a microcosm of this season. In my opinion, this team, just like last year, just kind of thinks that they're still Super Bowl champs. And boy, 2017 is going to seem further and further and further away. Just ask the Phillies. And I just hope that this window doesn't completely shut right in front of our eyes. I don't think it is, by the way. I think
there is good news. There is good news.
What's that?
The people that we're playing next on the Eagles
I
schedule.
could care less about this season. Go ahead, Go ahead. Shine some light, Keith.
But listen, you play the Dolphins this weekend. You play the Giants. You play the Washington. The only tough game that you have left on your schedule at this point is Dallas. Play Giants twice. That's what I'm saying. 4 out of your 5 games that you have left are all losing teams. The Cowboys, who can't seem to get anything done, who actually looked worse than the Eagles did against the Patriots, which is saying something. Amari Cooper had an Embiid night. 0 catches, 0 yards. So there's some positivity, especially because the Cowboys, they're playing the Bills tomorrow. They're playing the Bears after that. They're playing the Rams after that. And then we get a hold of them after they go through that gauntlet, that's your positivity for this. I'm not saying that we're going to go and we're going to win the Super Bowl or anything like that, but maybe it brings them back to life. Maybe they make a little bit of a run in the playoff and they remember at least a little bit of who they are.
I'll start with some positivity to what you just said. If they do go through that route, we would at least hopefully see Carson Wentz start in a playoff game.
That is a positive.
That being said, I cannot. While you're right, this team certainly still has a chance to win this division. It just feels like the Phillies. With the pitching staff that the Phillies were putting out there, you knew that they couldn't do anything. And with this team, the expectations were Super Bowl. The expectations were Super Bowl or bust. And just making the playoffs isn't really going to make me feel warm and fuzzy inside. And honestly, it's like, I just feel like I'm already waiting for next season, which is the worst feeling to have as a fan. But like right now, it's like, I need to see a win by over 17 points on Sunday for me to have any sort of warm and fuzzies. And not 17-0 either. Although that I would take that, I guess, because another shutout would be all right. But yeah,
let's see a shutout. Let's see them win by like 20 points. I think all of that is possible. I think that this is that get right game that you absolutely need before you start heading into your divisional games. Because let's be honest, even though the Giants and Washington are divisional opponents and they're terrible, the divisional opponents part is the thing you need to keep note of, because the division always gets up for each other. Doesn't matter how terrible you are. They improved their the Giants, that is, I should say, improved their defense during the trade deadline. So that doesn't bode well for this offense.
Yep.
So you've got to use this Dolphins game for everything it's worth to really dig deep, really get yourself right, really look what's happening, and hopefully come out the other side looking pretty. Something I did, another positive note here, Anthony, that you'll love hearing. Jason Peters said he's even willing to play right tackle at this point if that means Dillard's on the left and they have a more secure line.
Yeah. Again, I want Jason Peters to play left guard, if anything, not right tackle. But because for the same reasons. Sure, Jason Peters played right tackle in college. Keith, that was 15 years ago. Like,
I guess I'll have more faith in a Hall of Fame tackle making the switch than Vaitai at this point.
Or a rookie.
Yeah, or a rookie, exactly. And we know that Dillard can at least hold down that left side. So, at that point, it's like, well, all right, let's put Peters out there on the right side, see what happens. And if he can't hold it down, all right, well, Dillard goes off the field, and I guess it's back to Pryor or Vaitai on that side.
And Peters actually does take games off. He doesn't even say he's got anxiety or anything. He's just like, oh, I got a bruise on my elbow. I'm going to go sit out for a couple quarters. I might come back in later. Like, Peters kind of owes it to the team, to be honest. So
he's getting paid. So
yeah, and you know what I mean. It's at this point, Dillard. You can almost argue that Dillard. Sure, he's at least consistent out there. He'll play every snap. I don't know that he's still playing at the level that Jason Peters is, but
well, you're asking a rookie to play at the level of a Hall of Fame tackle.
It is something that you would like to see him kind of maybe just get slid in there, and yeah, Peters take up another spot left, even if it is just left guard, and have those two lock down your backside, and then move Sayamalu over. I believe we've seen Sayamalu play right guard before, so something to think about. But really, what it comes down to with this team is the offense needs to, like you said, they need to get right, and fast. Like this team really hasn't been exciting all year. Like a couple of games scattered here and there. The Green Bay one really sticks out. There's a couple games after that also stuck out. Let me go through the box scores. The Bills, they put up a 31 spot in that one. That felt nice. But yeah, really outside of that, this team just has kind of drug their feet through every game, specifically the offense. I know the defense had their struggles in the beginning of the year, but all in all, this season's on the offense. You knew that the defense wasn't going to be your strong suit. Your offense needed to be that. So, yeah, it comes down to, I keep hearing, Frank Reich or Doug Rowe, Mike Rowe. I keep hearing a lot of coordinators named a lot, but people need to remember, Doug Peterson's an offensive-minded coach. He was brought in as an offensive coordinator. He should be drawing up creative plays. We should not be relying on coordinators. If his coordinators are struggling as much as we all think and see that they are, he needs to step it up. He's got to do a better job, to bring up that old phrase that we don't like to bring up. But in my opinion, this is on Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz. Howie can't do anything. You're not bringing any all-stars in off the streets. So right now, Doug Peterson, Carson Wentz need to get on the same page. Carson Wentz is a big play quarterback, and you are doing nothing but dink and dunk and dink and dunk. Now, to the Wentz, Wentz should be able to hit the dink and dunks, even if he is a big play quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think it's a little bit of, I agree with you there, but at the same time, when the dink and dunks are going to, rejects, I don't know if that even matters.
Yeah, it's again, like it just comes down to, like, you gotta work with what you got. Even if it's, like slop, and sloppier, you have to at least fail. They're not even attempting to go downfield. Keith, 2 weeks in a row, not once have they gone over the top. Or when they do it, it's in desperation time.
You need to at this point. You have to do something. Whether or not you connect on it, you got to keep that defense honest. So at this point, you got to take your shots. And hey, man, if you can make those playoffs, there's a chance Deshaun Jackson comes back. There's a strong chance that you get healthy, and maybe you can make some noise with that, because in game one, when Jackson was healthy, when we saw him do what he does, we saw this offense start to come to life in that second half. You can make some noise if you actually finally get your offense back together.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, at worst, be entertaining for us and down the stretch. Give us confidence. Like, look, I need, like, right now, after these last 2 weeks, I got nothing to even say to, like, people that want to talk crap on Wentz. And it's like, in my opinion, I'm like, yeah, he's had 2 bad games. Like, quarterbacks have bad games. That doesn't mean you get rid of them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, just because we criticize Wentz also doesn't mean that we're suggesting to get rid of him. He's got, like, you can't miss Miles Sanders in that pass. Like, there's a couple passes he flat out missed. So, yeah. With that said, he's got to hit on them. And he has to be, he's got to be able to, if the coach isn't calling it, it almost feels like maybe he's got to call it. But at one point or another, once or maybe once at least a quarter, you got to throw the ball downfield. You have to try to open up this defense because teams are all but playing no safeties against you right now. They're stacking the box. They're saying you cannot run it against this defense. I dare you to pass it, and they can't get through it. And that's why you see Ertz again, 12 catches, because they're everything underneath. It's all they're doing is going underneath right now.
Yeah, and that's got to change, and hopefully in the coming weeks we see that change. Hopefully we get Jordan Howard back, we get Alshon Jeffrey back, we get rolling a little bit to the extent that we can actually go and make a difference and get some confidence and really take this division and get Jackson back and see what we can really do. But week by week, let's just light up the Dolphins and really progress from there.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like the Flyers are in the lead 3-2. I also saw at one point, and we're going to wrap into final thoughts segment, do some little, if you guys want to talk some Flyers. I saw Joe mention at one point that Moose has got to go, and it's I actually been pretty pleased with Moose this season. He had one stretch, about a handful of games where he was really hot. He's got a 5-2 record right now. I've actually been very pleased with him. I guess he let up a goal that Joe didn't like, and that's why he said he's got to go.
No, he almost did. He almost did right after we tied it.
But yeah, I don't know about you. I've been pleased with Moose, and I actually think that, as weird as it sounds, he's like one of the most important players for this team this season, because if he, and I've mentioned this a couple times now throughout even in preseason, if he can give you 30 plus quality, not quality, but if he can start 30 games and the majority of them are quality starts, it's going to take a ton of pressure off of Carter Hart as you kind of season him and hopefully, get him geared up for a playoff run or at least a series.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do think, while obviously Moose isn't like the greatest backup goaltender to ever play the game, I think he's very
solid.
I've tweeted this out at least once this year. I really like Moose I probably said Brian Elliott. I really like Brian Elliott, the backup goaltender, much more than the Brian Elliott, the starting goaltender.
Yeah, well, and that's you need him to eat up a good amount of games though to really help Carter stay solid throughout the year and make sure he doesn't get tired.
Yep.
As he's still getting used to the league.
It's his first full season. We have to remember that, and he's played well. Like I'm not criticizing him by any means. In fact, I'm trying to make his life easier.
You need those veterans, those solid veterans, to be there to make an impact. Much like you need Giroux and Voracek to make an impact. When you got your young guys out there, you have Frost coming up. You have Farabee coming up, making impacts alongside your other, stalwart veterans. This team has the potential to be good for a very long time.
Yeah.
A lot of the work that Hextall did is now showing through, and you know me, I love my Hextall. And now obviously Fletcher is taken it over. He's made it a little bit of his own at this point by making the additions he did this offseason. But it's almost like that the sins of Hinkie allowed the Sixers' future, similar to what happened with Hextall. That seems to be what's happening now.
And maybe much like in the Sixers' case with Elton Brand making the right move since he's got in, the defense, we were talking, it's kind of boom or bust, but it's right now so far it's looked more on the positive side. The defense, they've looked better, and as the moves seems reworked everything. So yeah, we'll kind of continue to talk about the Flyers as things move on. Keith, anything else on the Flyers, or maybe move into the final segment section of the night? I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, well, you know what? I guess
I think I could smell some Chick-fil-A in the next room.
Ooh, there you go.
Oh man.
Do you want to do a bomb player for this?
Oh my god, I didn't even realize I haven't done a bomb player.
I know you're upset, but technically you have that.
No, I don't want to do one, but I guess we should, right? So go ahead.
Yeah.
What do you got for the bomb player?
Carson Wentz. I'm going to go with him. I think he gets right this week.
Boy, I'm going to go with Greg Ward. I'm going to troll everything and just go Greg Ward. is my bomb player because I've picked everybody else and failed. So I'll go Greg Ward since he's been my guy. I've said, much like I've said about everybody, that they're better than Matt Collins. And I'm not saying that Greg Ward's the best player in the world, but he should have been on this team all year long over Matt Collins, who is human garbage at football.
I will say that.
He's terrible. Jay Ajayi, that's a good pick from Joe. He's going revenge game. Wentz from Nick in chat. Wentz needs a bounce back game. I need Wentz to be the bomb player of the week. Philadelphia needs Wentz to be the bomb player of the week. And then against the weak Dolphins team, pick them apart.
That's what you got. You have to.
So any final thoughts tonight, Keith?
No, that's it, man. I think we've covered just about everything. It's been good chatting with everybody, even though they can't see me. But it's been good being able to talk and be on WarRoomPhilly any which way I can. Yeah,
this was great. And no one complained about any audio issues or anything. So yeah, we we can make this our good solid plan B from here on out, which is nice. But yeah. So anything else tonight, Keith?
No, I think that's it.
Well then, on that, guys, thank you all for tuning in, both live and on demand. I see Ertz could go off as the last thing in chat. I want to get that in as we get everybody's suggestions. So we had Ertz, we had Greg Ward, we had 2 Carson Wentz. We also had a Nelson Aguilar if he plays. So we had some suggestions from chat and us. So there's our thoughts for bomb player of the week. We're going to need some big plays out of this entire team. Just blow this team out. That's what it comes down to. But with that, on that final note, I am Anthony Pinto.
And I'm Keith Malashevsky.
And we are out of here.